What's going on, guys? It's Corey from SuperKamiGuru9000, and welcome to my review of Bleach, Chapter 487. It's real wacky here in SuperKamiGuru9000 world. Anyway, I'm going to review Bleach now. Okay, Bleach, remember the manga series that I've been talking about for a long time? Anywho, this week's chapter opens up with Ichigo and the Scooby Gang finally making their way to Hueco Mundo, and it looks like they're all there except for Ishida, which again just brings up the question, since he's a Quincy, does that have something to do with the main villains in the series? Ichigo and his friends can see that these brand new villains, these weird Nazi guys, are basically torturing all of these Arrancar and Hollow and recruiting them into their army, and Ichigo decides that since he's the main character of the series, he has to do something about it. So we finally get a brand new villain introduced, and it looks like he's a higher up in this army, and his name is Kurge Opie, or at least that's how I think his name is pronounced. Please do not crucify me in the comments below if I pronounced it wrong. But the point is, this guy's a real jerk, he's a real asshole, and he's recruiting these Arrancar in a really messed up fashion, and this is basically what's happening. He's saying, alright, all you Arrancar, line up, I'm going to walk to each of you, and I'm going to impale and stab you. If you live, you're going to come with us. If you die, fucking sucks to be you. We get to see a past return from some of our favorite Arrancar. We get to see Aizen's guards returns, the one that were severely injured by Grimmjow originally in the Arrancar arc. They're back and they're still getting tossed to the wayside. They still suck. But that's when we get Holybell's guards. They make their big appearance and it looks like they're going to attack Kurge. And they all look incredibly awesome. So Bleach Chapter 487, really good chapter for me. It was my favorite part of the new Shonen series this week. If there's one thing I want to say, it's that it is moving along at a breakneck pace. You know, I thought they were going to have some development before they went ahead and went to Hueco Mundo, but the chapter opened up and they are immediately there, so they're really jumping into things very quick. And, you know, the beginning of the chapter did have a few things to slog through. You had to go through a few moments with Pesh, you know, being the typical funny character that he always is. But then we cut right back to these brand new villains who the author still doesn't want to tell us who exactly they are and what their abilities fully are. But the new villain, Kurge Opie, he's just an insane bastard. You know, like I said, he's got this crazy plan where he's just running around stabbing people, and if they happen to live through the attack, he's gonna, you know, take them with him. And, you know, these villains, they just seem very ruthless and very Nazi-like, and I think that's what the author is going for. But obviously the biggest part of this chapter for me was getting to see some of those older Arrancar returning. You know, we got to see Aizen's aide return, and like before, they got tossed aside, but all of Holybell's guards are back. And there's one thing I can say about these characters is that they're very well designed, and they're all really interesting personalities, if a little stereotypical, but I can't wait to see what they're going to do in the coming battle. So even though we got a little bit of slogging at the beginning of the chapter with Ichigo and his gang, we did get to see some cool Arrancar action and the return of some favorite characters. So I'm going to give this week's chapter an 8 out of 10. Now I want to ask you guys about what's going to be happening in the coming chapters. Do you think that Holybell's guard is actually going to be able to stand up against these new villains? Or do you think some other Arrancars are going to show up? Maybe even the possibility of Grimmjow making his big return. You can let me know with your comments below. And if you'd like to let me know what you thought about this chapter, please leave your comments there. I'd love to know what you thought. That concludes my review today, guys. SuperKamiGuru9000. Out.